Hi, Drew.
Hi, Anna.
I am so excited. Are you ready to go?
I am really excited.
Did you remember all the things?
Yes, I've got waders.
Okay.
I've got a fishing pole.
Okay.
I've got my hat with all the different hooks on it.
Okay.
What do you have?
I brought the nets. I also brought all of the bait that we're going to need. So for the people that are listening, we are on our way to a fishing competition.
It's going to be awesome.
I am so excited. But here, it's not about winning. It's about domination. So
Yes. And I just was doing some research on this particular fishing hole.
Okay.
And you'll never believe what they say is somewhere in the water.
What is it?
A giant fish.
I don't believe that. You're right. Good job.
It's true, though. I got it off the internet.
Like how giant? Okay, well, we all know everything on the internet is real. Come on, Drew. Like how giant is this fish?
It is big enough that they say it could swallow a human being whole.
That's not a thing.
It is.
It's not.
So for bait, I also brought like an entire pork shoulder because I feel like that's what this kind of fish wants.
That was supposed to be for our winning barbecue.
We'll have to figure out another plan.
But I don't think that you're just going to waste it. You're going to throw this pork shoulder in the water, and there's no such thing as a fish that big.
Anna, look at my face. I am going to get this fish.
Okay. How do you know it's real? Has there ever been a fish this big?
Actually, yes. There's a story in the Bible about a giant fish that's big enough to swallow a human being.
I remember this story.
Yeah. So on the way, that's what we're going to talk about.
Let's go.
The story of Jonah.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
From the stories of Noah's Ark and Anna on the lawn, through the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. Whether you're new to this or an avid Sunday schooler, we'll learn about the Bible, just like church,
but even cooler.
And we take what we learn and we use what we find to go into the world and let the light of God shine.
Buckle up, kids.
Minivangelism. It's time to go Minivangelism. In faith we grow Show.
I can't believe I forgot about that story.
It's one of the best in the whole Bible.
I mean, it's like the quintessential like God doing big things Bible story, right?
Yes.
I love this story.
And that's what this summer's all about. Big stories, God doing big things.
Yeah.
And our first big story is the story of Jonah.
Yeah. And I think have you written a song about this?
I have.
Is it like summery?
Yeah, it's got kind of like a summer beachy vibe.
Is this going to be like what we listen to during our fishing competition?
I think it should.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put it on the radio. I've got to hear this.
All right, here it comes.
What does this?
Was a prophet, but not a very good one. The year was 760. The king was Jeroboam the second. That Jonah thought his life would be easy. The Lord said, "Hey Jonah, here's what you're gonna do for me. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go. You best be on your way. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go. Tell them their sins are washed away. The Lord said to Jonah, to Nineveh you're going. But Jonah said no, and to Tarshish started rowing. He hated the people that God planned on saving. The boat that he fled on started rocking and waving. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go. You best be on your way. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go. Tell them their sins are washed away. All of Jonah's shipmates were awestruck and frighty. Said Jonah, did you anger the hand of the Almighty? Jonah, he told them,
Throw me over if you wish.
They did, and then Jonah was swallowed by a big fish. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, you best be on your way. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, tell them their sins are washed away. Down in the fish's belly, Jonah was wailing. For 3 nights he sat there, thinking about his failing. He cried out to the Lord with a passionate speech.
Lord have mercy.
And the Lord let the fish spit him back onto the beach. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, you best be on your way. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, tell them their sins are washed away. Jonah got up and preached to the people. They listened to his word and ceased to do evil. The mercy of God sends me and sends you. Jonah finally went, and we can go too. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, you best be on your way. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, tell them their sins are washed away.
Sing it with me.
Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, you best be on your way. Jonah, go to Nineveh today. Jonah, go, tell them their sins are washed away.
Oh, I love that song.
It's a fun one. It's a fun one.
That is so much fun. I kind of like don't want to go to a fishing hole, and I kind of just want to go to the beach now.
Yeah, I know. But maybe on the way we can pick up like fruity drinks and keep the Jonah song vibes going.
Yes. And can we put umbrellas in them?
Of course.
Yes. Awesome. So let's talk about the story without the song. I'm going to try and make it just as fun as what you just did, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. But Jonah was a prophet. And you can find this story in the Bible in the book of Jonah. Like that's the whole book. And it's a really short story actually, which is crazy because like so much stuff happens. But Jonah was a prophet, and a prophet is a messenger from God. So prophets, they would pray, God would talk to them, God would give them messages to the people, and then they would send those messages out. And Jonah was a prophet in Israel. And then one day God says, I need you to go to Nineveh. And Nineveh was a kingdom full of very not nice people.
That's right.
Like they were dangerous. And God, not only did he want Jonah to go to this very dangerous city, but he wanted him to tell all of the people, the Ninevites, that what they were doing was wrong and that God was about to destroy their city. Have you ever had to deliver bad news to someone that you knew was not going to take it well?
Yes.
And how'd that go?
It's usually pretty hard. It's like we have in my family there are two people that like to know a plan. Mm-hmm. And if that plan changes, we do not like it. And so I have had to change the plan on my friend, my other family member who shares this personality trait and said, I know we said that this was going to happen. It is not going to happen.
Yes.
And it's very hard to do because you're going to disappoint somebody.
Yeah. I have the same thing. There's a member of my family where like, we're going to move heaven and earth to make sure that we don't have to deliver this bad news.
Right.
Because if the bad news gets delivered, nobody's going to be happy.
Right.
Right.
But part of it for Jonah is not just that it's bad news, it's that he hates these people.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to go and speak the word of the Lord there because he's kind of afraid. In fact, he kind of knows that if they hear the word of the Lord is going to forgive them. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't want them forgiven.
Right. So it's one, he's a little bit scared of how they're going to take it.
Yeah.
And two, he doesn't want to give them a chance.
Right.
Like everybody was kind of waiting for Nineveh to get wiped out. So Jonah, he's like, no, I'm going to pretend like I didn't hear that message from you, God. And he gets on a boat and he sails to this other land, or he starts sailing to this other land called Tarshish. Now, Tarshish I looked it up, is in Spain.
Yeah.
So he was going far away in the opposite direction.
As far as he could.
But while he's on the boat, a big storm comes up and it's bad. Like they can't row the boat. The waves are tossing and turning and everybody on the boat is praying to their God. And they go to Jonah and they're like, you need to pray to your God. Like we're all praying to our sea gods or whatever. And like, who is your God? And he's like, well, my God is the God of the land, the sky, and the sea. And that kind of scared them a little bit because they had never encountered a God that was like God of everything. And they were like, we got to see who's at fault. So they talk amongst themselves. They end up finding out like it's Jonah's fault. And Jonah's like, the only way that this is going to get better is you got to throw me off the boat. And they're like, no, we can't do that. Like, we don't want to anger your God even more. And he's like, no, you're actually going to make him kind of happy. And so they throw him off the boat. And instead of drowning, Jonah gets swallowed by a big fish.
A really big fish.
A really big fish. And some people say it's a whale. Some people say it's a fish. We don't really know, but he gets swallowed.
I saw one picture where it looked like a shark.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
I saw one where it looked like a sea monster,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of cool. But anyway, he gets swallowed by this sea creature and he's in there for 3 days and 3 nights. And he realizes that what he did was wrong and he prays to God and he's like, please forgive me. I shouldn't have done this. And so then the fish swims close to shore and throws him up.
Yeah.
Like, bleh. So now Jonah is...
Oh, make the sound again. It's fun.
Bleh.
Yeah.
So now Jonah is...
Okay, one more time. Thank you.
Jonah is on the beach. He's covered in sand and fish puke.
Yes.
So he doesn't smell good. I'd like to imagine he cleans himself up. He goes to Nineveh and he tells everybody, hey, God's going to destroy you. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. And the Ninevites, instead of getting mad at him, they take him to the king. And the king hears that they have upset this God. And the king is like, well, we need to change it. And he makes a decree and they all put on sackcloth, which is like this really itchy fabric. They start repenting. They pray for God's forgiveness. They're fasting, which means they're going without food. And they do all of the not necessary steps, but they are really sorry. Like the king is really sorry. And the people are really sorry about this. And the king is kind of like, we're going to worship this God and we're going to do whatever he commands. And God spares them. He doesn't destroy the city. And it makes Jonah really mad. And so Jonah leaves Nineveh. He perches himself up on a cliff to like watch the city. And he sets up a shelter and God causes this giant plant to grow to give Jonah shade. But then the next day, God provides a worm that comes and eats the big old plant. And Jonah's like, what the heck? And God is like, why are you so concerned about this vine? I made it and you did nothing for it. And you're concerned about this plant, but you weren't concerned about the like thousands of people in this city who I also made, who I also took care of. And then it just kind of ends.
Yeah.
The story ends with Jonah getting a talking to. And that's the story. And it's huge and it's kind of confusing, but it's also really cool.
It is.
I love this story.
It is. It reminds me of like a cartoon. Like there's like the things that are happening in it are the kinds of things that I would see in like a cartoon or a graphic novel. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And really interesting.
Yeah. And it's just, you see God doing things really differently and using, I like that he uses a lot of nature in this particular story. So the competition doesn't start for a while.
Right.
So I'd actually like, if you don't mind, I want to talk to a friend of mine about this. So I have a friend, her name is McKenzie, and I feel so silly for forgetting this story because McKenzie actually emailed us a while ago and like asked for us to talk about this story.
Oh, perfect.
So clearly she knows this story. So I think I want to talk to her to like get a little more info and like see what she knows about it.
Please.
All right. So I'm going to pull over here. Will you please check all of the supplies that we have? If you need to run out and get more, go ahead and do that. If we need a bigger net, because apparently I didn't realize we were catching a giant fish. So do what you got to do and I'll be right back.
I'm going to tenderize this pork bait.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.
Hi, McKenzie.
Hi.
It's so nice to finally meet you. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Okay, so I want to talk to you about one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and it's actually a story that you asked us to do. We are going to talk about Jonah and the big fish. Do you know that story?
Yes.
Yes. Why did you want to hear about this story?
Because I just like it, and I like to know what it tells us.
Oh, I love that. So we've kind of already talked about it. I've already talked about it in the van with Pastor Drew, where, Jonah told to go to Nineveh, doesn't, gets on a boat, thrown out, swallowed by a fish, all that stuff, right? We kind of know all that. When you were reading this story, what are some things that made you curious? What are your I wonder questions?
How big was the fish?
How big was the fish? Ooh, what do you think?
If it was a little fish, he would be so squished. But if it was as big as this room, he would be able to walk around and stuff.
Oh, do you think that he got up and just walked around inside of the fish?
No, I think he sat down and he was praying while he was.
Ooh, that's really exciting. Here's an I wonder I have for you. How smelly do you think it was inside that fish?
Lots. A bunch.
You think it was really smelly?
Yeah.
Do you like being in the dark?
Not really.
Me either. Could you imagine being in the dark for 3 days? That would be pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nights.
And nights, you're right. Oh, man. Oh, well, what's another I wonder question that you have?
Was it a caterpillar or a worm?
Oh, at the end of the story. A caterpillar or worm that ate that plant? I don't know. What's your guess?
It probably was a caterpillar because caterpillars eat leaves and stuff. And worms really dig in the dirt like that.
Gotcha. Do you think it was the very hungry caterpillar?
I think so.
Yeah. I think I would like to see a book like that where the very hungry caterpillar eats and eats, and one of the days he's eating a plant that a man is sitting under. That'd be pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so what is your third I wonder question?
Why wasn't Jonah happy when he knew that God changed his mind?
Oh. That's a really good question. So Jonah was initially sent to tell the people that God was going to destroy the city, right? And he didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And because he was scared. But then he goes there, he tells them God's going to destroy your city, and they're like, "Oh no, we need to fix it." Yeah, that would be something exciting, right? That people aren't getting destroyed. Why do you think Jonah was mad about it?
Because he discussed it with God, and then he was he wanted that to happen, kind of.
Yeah.
He wanted that to happen because they were mean. Why? He was kind of why did they turn back? Because they didn't want to get destroyed.
Yeah. It's kind of like if somebody's mean to you, you want them to get in trouble, right? Because they're bad guys.
Yeah, kind of.
I have a question. Do you have a sibling? What do you have?
Sister.
You have a sister? Older or younger?
Younger.
So you have a little sister. Do you and your little sister ever fight sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yeah. And how does it feel when your little sister gets in trouble?
Kind of she deserves it, because she was like that.
How does it feel when your mom and dad are nice to your little sister after you guys get in a fight?
It feels kind of sad or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you want her to get in trouble. Maybe that's how Jonah felt. Maybe Jonah was just like, I really want to see him get it. And that's a very human thing. I think it's good that we see that in the Bible, because here you have a prophet, someone who's supposed to be a messenger of God, experiencing a very human emotion, right? Yeah. And so it's okay. We shouldn't have those feelings all the time, but it's okay if we have them sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Minivangelism, we like to say that the Bible shows us a little bit of something about God, right? Or every story in the Bible shows us something about God. That's what the Bible is. So in the story of Jonah, where are we seeing God, or what do we learn about God in this story?
He gives us, he kind of gives us second chances.
He gives us second chances. I love that. Can you say more?
He does, when he says something, and you don't, you kind of when you were doing something that God doesn't like, then he, you kind of, don't do it and do the opposite of it. For an example, they were being bad, so they turned away, and, they were doing good, and then God turned back. So he gives us second chances. So he
Do you know what that's called? Do you know what those second chances are called? It's called grace or mercy. God doesn't give us just second chances. He can give us third chances and fourth chances. Miss Anna's on her 50th chance on some stuff sometimes. But he has grace and he has mercy. Sometimes I wonder if Jonah was sitting on that hill watching Nineveh because he was kind of waiting for them to mess up again. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you think that the Ninevites were perfect for the rest of their lives?
No.
No?
I don't think they were, because everybody is not perfect.
Right. But God still showed them grace, didn't he?
Yeah.
And so what does that mean for McKenzie?
It means that God's a good God, because he gives us second chances a lot.
Yeah. And so for you have grace, don't you? You have God's grace and you have God's mercy. And how does that make you feel?
Happy.
It makes you feel happy? That's awesome. What a great insight on this story. I love that. And he even gave Jonah a second chance too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because Jonah could have just drowned in that ocean.
Yeah.
But instead he got swallowed up by a fish.
Yeah.
So, my favorite part of any kid interview is when we get to stump Pastor Drew. Do you want to try and stump Pastor Drew?
Yeah.
Okay, what grade are you in, McKenzie?
Kindergarten.
He's never won against a kindergartner. I can already tell you're a real smart kid. McKenzie, are you ready to stump Pastor Drew?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your first stump Pastor Drew question?
Who was Jonah's dad?
Is that in that story?
Yeah.
What? His dad is in the story?
Yeah.
What's his dad's name?
It says at the very beginning, son of Amittai.
Amittai. That is so cool. Wow, you really read this story. That's awesome. Okay, that's a great question. You are starting strong. All right, let's hit number 2.
How did they decide who was responsible?
How did they decide who was responsible? Oh, when they were picking who they were going to throw off the boat? Ooh, that's a good one. What did they do?
They drew straws.
They drew straws. Ooh, yeah. Or I think another way of saying it too is casting lots, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we should make Pastor Drew only answer one, or should we give it to him if he guesses either one?
I want to just do one.
Just one? Oh, man, you're mean. I love it. Yeah, tough. Let's not go easy on him. He's had time to study the story. Okay, and then what is your third stump Pastor Drew question?
How many days did it take for Jonah to walk across or see all of Nineveh?
How many days did it take Jonah to walk across or see all of Nineveh? Okay. Once again, I don't know if I remember that. God, you know this story so much better. Okay, what is it?
3 days.
3 days? Again, 3 days. Again with the 3 days. I love that. McKenzie, I am very excited for you to stump Pastor Drew. So normally when we have kids at our church stump him, they get a free high five. And we don't live too far away from you. So I think if you stump him, we should make him come over here and get you a free high five. How about that? Yeah. All right. So on Minivangelism, we always like to end on a joke. Do you have a joke for us today?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Whale.
Whale who?
Whale, stop standing there. Open the door.
It was themed. It was an A+ pun. You knocked it out of the park. High five. I'm going to go ahead and give you a high five. Well, thank you so much, McKenzie, for joining us on Minivangelism.
You're welcome.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
McKenzie is so smart.
Oh, fantastic.
She's so smart. And like the way that she looked at this story was really cool. Like I know why she asked for it now, because this is like one of her favorite stories in the Bible.
Oh, good.
And she's just a really neat kid.
That's
and
great.
So let's talk about it. So she had some pretty good I wonders. Her first I wonder, and this is an I wonder I think we all have. How big was that fish?
Apparently big enough.
Yes. That's what she said. She was like she said it could have been a little fish and Jonah just was very squished inside.
Yeah, if you have to spend 3 nights in a fish, do you want a big fish where everything's like sloshing around in there? Or do you want a small one and you're the only thing in there?
Right.
I don't know.
Sleeping bag.
I think there's no good way to spend 3 nights inside of a fish.
No.
So I don't know.
Do you prefer to be in like big open spaces or like small kind of cozy spaces?
I actually kind of like cozy spaces. So I would go for a medium fish. But a medium fish would not hold me. But so clearly this is like an act of God.
Yeah.
That somehow God has made this fish and made this fish so that Jonah can actually live in there for a few days.
Yes. Have you ever seen Pinocchio?
Yes.
You know when he gets like swallowed, like Geppetto gets swallowed by the whale, and he's got like furniture
Yes.
and like is able to build a fire?
Yes. It's a very old Disney movie, and it actually is part of how when I heard this story, that's what I pictured.
Yeah.
Is that whale from Pinocchio. So yeah, that's a good I wonder.
Mm-hmm. So her second I wonder is the worm that comes and eats the plant. Was it a worm or was it a caterpillar?
Ooh, like a very hungry caterpillar?
Yes, because she's like, worms don't really like eat plants. They kind of like do stuff in the dirt. But like caterpillars, they eat plants.
That's a good question.
And yes, the very hungry caterpillar
Ate up a whole tree.
I would love to see a rewrite of the very hungry caterpillar. And it's like, and on Monday, he ate Jonah's plant.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. So I just thought that was a really cool I wonder of like, she's like, okay, I need to know what kind of fish this was. And I kind of need to know about the worm. Like,
absolutely.
What kind of worm was it?
But anybody that does gardening and stuff like that, worms are a problem. Like the wrong kind of worm and the wrong kind of plant can kill the plant.
Right.
And so I think that's part of how the story makes sense is, but what's interesting is that like God makes the plant and God sends the worm.
Yeah.
This is part of how God is saying something to Jonah.
Yes. I'm also thinking though, if it was a caterpillar, like what do you think that butterfly would look like for a caterpillar that ate a God plant?
I like that idea. What if it was like a caterpillar whose the pattern on their wings also looked like a big fish? Like the butterfly then like was the story.
Like a tapestry?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to draw that.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, the great fish-winged butterfly.
Yes.
Name's Jonah.
All right, so her third I wonder, and this is one, we need to chat about this one. So this was like a good I wonder. Why wasn't Jonah happy when God spared the Ninevites? You would think that if God is like saving a bunch of people and he did it because of something you did, you'd be happy about it. Why did God do that?
Yeah.
Or why was Jonah not happy about it?
I'm curious what McKenzie thought about it.
McKenzie thought he didn't want the bad guys to have something good.
I think she's right.
Yeah. We talked about McKenzie has a little sister.
Mm.
And sometimes, when they get in a fight and her sister does something wrong, sometimes her parents are a lot kinder to her little sister than she would be if she was the mom. And it makes her upset.
Yeah.
She doesn't like to see her sister getting away with it.
Right.
And I can relate.
Yeah. And part of how we understand the story is that the Ninevites are enemies of Jonah's people.
Yeah.
And we know from other stories that they really are enemies. Like they are not good people making mistakes. Like they are mean people.
Yeah, they would leave Nineveh and come to Israel to do bad things.
Right. And so they are real enemies. And so just like you just said, like you can imagine if you have real enemies, you don't want to see them happy. You don't want to see them forgiven. You don't want to see them taken care of. And so we can kind of understand that. The weird thing is that Jonah is a prophet. The prophets are supposed to like do what God says.
Yeah.
But Jonah's so angry about what God might do and then what God does that Jonah runs away. Yeah. That Jonah says, I don't even want to obey God because I can't stand those people so much.
Right.
And Jonah even says, I know what you're going to do, God. I know you're going to forgive them. And I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to be a part of that. And so it's because Jonah knows God is forgiving that Jonah runs away and doesn't want to be a part of their forgiveness.
Yeah.
And like, again, prophets are supposed to say yes to God.
Yeah.
So that's part of what's weird about the story. Part of what makes sense, I think, to us about the story is it is a hard thing to see somebody who is mean to you or an enemy have good things happen to them.
Exactly. And, also too, like, Jonah, you ran away and God saved you in the belly of a fish. Like, come on. and in the belly of the fish, Jonah even says, like, God, you're a merciful God, and all this, like,
right.
Your mercy knows no bounds and things like that. And then he just can't get it right.
Right.
And that's okay.
And part of what I think the story says is, dear Jonah, you don't get to change God.
Yeah.
That God is going to be God. Mm-hmm. And you don't get to decide who God forgives and who God doesn't.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. Like in some ways it's good news, in some ways it's bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. So then, on Minivangelism, we always like to talk about God is in every story. Mm-hmm. And so what does this story tell us about God? And I loved McKenzie's answer because it was very different than the answer that I had always thought about. God gives us second chances and even more. That's what she said. He gives us second chances and even more.
I love that.
Jonah got a second chance. The Ninevites got a second chance. But if we look at our own lives, when we make mistakes, we're given second chances, but sometimes we're given 50 chances. Sometimes we're giving 100 chances. God is going to have mercy on you. Mm-hmm. And that was the read that she got on that. And I just thought that was really cool that McKenzie, I'll tell you her age later, but for someone so young to understand that, and we talked about like that's called grace, is when God gives you extra chances. For someone so young to already see what God's grace looks like, I don't know. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah. What McKenzie's ideas make me think of is, God could have told Jonah to do this. Jonah doesn't do it. And God just goes and gets another prophet.
Right. Yeah. Prophets weren't in short supply.
What's interesting is it's like God is saying, no, I want to do this with you, Jonah. Mm-hmm. You're the one who I want to do this. Mm-hmm. And I will give you multiple chances because I want it to be you that does it. So it's not just that God is going to do what God wants to do. It's that God is going to do what God wants to do, but God chooses to do it with and through ordinary people. Mm-hmm. And God calls them to do special work And it's not just to get the work done. It's so that that person can be the one who's a part of the work. So the book is called Jonah, and it could have been a different story with another prophet's name, but it's like, no, God wants to do this story with this particular person, perhaps even because he's going to take multiple chances. And I want my people to know that I will give you multiple chances.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, really good news.
Mm-hmm. And who we talked about with the Ninevites, like, I was like, do you think that after they repented and fasted and prayed, the king was like, this is the God we're going to worship. Do you think that the Nineveh was then perfect for the rest of time? And she was like, no. But in history, there's no record of Nineveh being destroyed by God.
Right.
And so, yeah, they were going to mess up again, but God was still going to give them another chance, right? Because they are people that he created. We are all creations of God. And that's what God says at the end. Like, all of these people down in Nineveh, I've been taking care of them for so long, and they just needed to know about me, and they needed to know, how to live better lives. And, God cared for them.
Right.
And that's why he has so much mercy and grace, I think, for us, and compassion.
Yeah. And the story is not the story of how the Ninevites got forgiven. Mm-mm. It's the story of what God did with Jonah. So there are two transformations that are happening in the story. One is the transformation of the Ninevites from being people who are evil to be people who now worship God or try to obey God. But the other is the transformation happening in Jonah's life of him coming to accept this God who happens to be a forgiving God. But then the story ends and we don't actually know what happens to Jonah.
No.
So we get to use our imaginations.
We do get to use our imaginations. Well, and Jonah, this is not the last we hear from Jonah. Jesus actually talks about Jonah.
That's right.
And it's pretty cool how Jesus talks about Jonah. He just references him with he talks about the sign of Jonah and 3 days, 3 nights. And it's when Jesus is talking about his own death and resurrection. But I just think it's cool that there's like a Jonah callback in the New Testament.
That's right.
So, we're talking about second chances. We're talking about mercy. We're talking about grace and compassion. And God has so much mercy, grace, and compassion. McKenzie and I do not when it comes to stumping you.
Compassion-free zone.
This is a mercy-free zone.
All right, bring it on.
And I said I was going to bring
I am not your enemy, for the record.
No, but you are now.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
I need to preface these questions. McKenzie is in kindergarten.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The kindergartners are my nemesis.
They are your Ninevites.
They are my Ninevites. They always stump me.
They always stump you, so she's got 3 good ones.
Forget it. I'm going to Tarshish.
Get back in the boat.
Okay.
Get thrown up by that whale. All right, first one. Who was Jonah's dad?
Amittai.
You got it!
Yeah! Amittai. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's like the first line in the book.
Yeah.
Jonah, son of Amittai.
And I like the name, too, because it's like, are you a loser or are you a winner? Amittai.
I love that. Okay. All right. How did they, on the boat, decide who was responsible?
Oh, good question.
Like, how did they figure it out?
They cast lots.
Yes.
Yes!
Except, no.
Oh.
Because Mackenzie's interpretation had something else. And she was like, I was like, well, it could be casting lots or this. So how about we give it both? And she was like, no mercy. He has to choose the one that I did.
What's the one that she chose?
You have to guess.
Drew straws.
Yes!
Oh, yeah! All right. McKenzie, I feel like wherever you are right now, you are helping me. You are sending me. It's like Joseph, who has the skill to interpret dreams. McKenzie has the skill to send me the answers to save me from being stumped.
Okay. You ready?
So McKenzie, help me with this third one. Go ahead.
Okay. How long did it take Jonah to get through Nineveh?
Okay, McKenzie, talk to me. Talk to me, McKenzie. It was a 3-day long walk.
You're right.
Yes, thank you, McKenzie. Thank you. Thank you.
The kindergarten curse is broken.
I have found in kindergarten there is a faithful one who offers mercy and not just judgment, and her name is McKenzie.
I will say it's the end of the school year, so she's practically a first grader at this point.
Yeah. Great stump questions, and I give McKenzie the credit for knowing the answers. I think she prayed that I would remember.
Yeah.
So McKenzie, next time I get to see you, I'm gonna make sure to give you 2 free high fives.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Well, and she got a high five from me because she stumped me on all of them.
That's great.
Yeah, it was not pretty.
I love it.
Dang. Man. Now I'm just gonna sit on this hill and wait for the plant to grow because I just need to see you fall. Well, anyway, thank you so much, McKenzie. She's just, like I said, she's such
awesome.
a cool kid. And yeah, I really like talking to her about this story.
Well, Anna, you brought up Jesus. Do you mind if I share? That's one of the coolest things about this story is that it's one that Jesus talks about.
Yeah.
Can I just kind of talk about that for a second?
If you need to talk about Jesus, you talk about Jesus.
So in the Jonah story, we're seeing the story of somebody who refuses to do the will of God.
Yeah.
That he's told, go and do this. Jonah says, I don't want to. I hate those people. I'm not going to do it. He runs away. Eventually, he then gets swallowed by a fish 3 days under the earth in the sea, and then gets spat back up, and against his will goes and does the least possible thing. Mm-hmm. What Jonah actually says is, y'all have 3 days and then you're toast. And it's not, he doesn't say, repent and the Lord will save you. He doesn't say the Lord wants to forgive you. He just says, warning, you're about to die. Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't even really do a good job, but God still forgives them. It's still enough, miraculously. Mm-hmm. And then Jonah ends the story angry. The same pattern of the story happens in the life of Jesus. Jesus is one called by God to go to people who are not doing the right things. But Jesus doesn't run away. Mm-hmm. Jesus runs toward. Jesus doesn't refuse to do what God is asking him to do. Jesus does exactly what God is asking him to do. Jesus doesn't reject the people. The people reject Jesus. And ultimately they put him to death, and he spends 3 days under the earth in a grave. And then the earth, by God's power, spits him back up, and he's alive. And he comes back, and he's not angry. Yeah. In fact, he is saying, I am still the one who wants to save you. I'm still the one who wants to grant you mercy. And so at one point in Jesus' ministry, everybody is saying, come on, Jesus, give us a sign that you're really who you say you are. And Jesus says, the only sign I'm going to give you is the sign of Jonah. Yeah. I'm gonna Jonah you in a way that Jonah refused to do. I'm going to talk to you, love you, tell you about the mercy of God. And even when you kill me, I'm not going to stop. So Jesus is like the opposite of Jonah in that way. Mm-hmm. And Jesus is the one who grants mercy even to Jonah. Yeah. Even to us when we don't want to do the will of God because we don't want to see our enemies blessed. Jesus is the one who loves us and grants us mercy anyway. And I just love how those two stories line up.
Yeah. And when Jesus came back from being underground, he cooked them fish.
He did. So there's fish in the story too. I love it.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, this is a cool story. And like I said, if you are ever wanting to read the story in your Bible, it's a really short story. I think it was like, we counted up as like 48 verses or something like that. Like it's a really easy read. So go ahead with your grown-ups, kids, and look up the story of Jonah and read it together. See what you can find that maybe we also haven't been able to find.
Right.
And whenever you go fishing or you eat fish sticks, remember the story. Absolutely.
And the next time that you realize there's somebody that is your enemy or you don't want good things to happen to them, remember the story.
Yeah, remember the story. Okay, well, We're here.
It's time.
This place is packed. This is going to be a really intense competition.
My bait is ready. The playlist is set. And I even see over there's a little hut where I can get you an umbrella drink and we can go win this thing.
Let's go. Parents, don't forget that we have a special companion episode just for the grown-ups called The Driver's Seat, where we talk about the same story without the kids in the car. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Minivangelism. And if you have your own ideas for a story or you want to be on the show, email us like McKenzie did. And you can email us at minivangelism@gmail.com. And we are just so excited to hear from you. And we can't wait to just enjoy the summer with you. And we've got some more epic stories coming up. So we're really excited about that.
All right, Anna, grab your waders. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.
Minivangelism and The Driver's Seat are hosted by Anna Burrell and Drew Colby. Theme song written by David Burrell and produced by Evan Setzer. The theme song was performed by David Burrell, Drew Colby, and Evan Setzer. Podcast, sound design, and editing done by David Burrell. Minivangelism and The Driver's Seat are a ministry of Grace United Methodist Church in Manassas, Virginia. For more information, check out umcgrace.org.